In this video, we're going to go through a CFA Level 1 style question on the characteristics of monopolistic competition. To be honest, this is a fairly easy question, but many candidates get this wrong because they wrongly assume that monopolistic competition is the same thing as a monopoly. Well, let me stress that it absolutely isn't. And you really need to know its characteristics. So if this is something you want to get right in the exam, keep watching and let's get solving. Which of the following features is least likely to be found in a market operating under conditions of monopolistic competition? A. The barriers faced by new entrants are low. B. There is only one seller. Or C. Suppliers are able to differentiate their products through advertising. Okay, what I propose we do is discuss the various forms of market competition or market structure, as it is formally known, by recreating a portion of the table which you will also find in your economics section of the curriculum. Let's kick off with the most competitive of them all, which is perfect competition, followed by monopolistic competition, which the question asks about, then oligopoly, and finally a monopoly. And the first dimension across which I want to analyze these structures is the number of suppliers in the market. Under conditions of perfect competition, this is going to be many. The same goes for monopolistic competition, many as well. In the case of an oligopoly, it's going to be just a few suppliers, whereas in the case of a monopoly, just a single or one supplier. Now, the next characteristic is barriers to entry, and this is going to be really straightforward with very low and very high at the extremes. So for perfect competition, very low barriers to entry and very high barriers to entry at the other end of the table where we've got the monopoly. In the middle with monopolistic competition and an oligopoly, we're going to simply say low, not very low, just low. And for the oligopoly, it's going to be high. So that's nice and easy to remember, hopefully. So perfect competition is a market structure where we have many, or in fact, countless number of suppliers and almost no barriers to entry, meaning anyone can join the crowd. What is more, they are offering a highly standardized or homogeneous product. So this is going to be our third dimension, degree of product differentiation. And let us also just add that each one of these many suppliers is so small that none of them can individually exert any realistic influence on the level of prices. However, let me just write over here that the degree of product differentiation, given the fact that we've got a standardized or homogeneous product, well, let me just say standardized. Although you could say highly standardized over here. Now, monopolistic competition is a less than perfect form of competition, with the product being offered, leaving room for differentiation. And let me write, therefore, differentiated. And because of this, suppliers may actually engage in advertising activities so as to make their products appear better than those of competitors and potentially charge higher prices. And if we now look back at the question, we see that answer A is correct. So is answer C. And answer B is the incorrect one, making it the solution to the question, as we were asked for the feature least likely to be found under conditions of monopolistic competition. So let me write answer B over here. The question is solved. Let me nevertheless complete the table. In an oligopoly, the product or service being offered is fairly standardized, whereas in a monopoly, the product is simply unique because we've got one supplier only. They're the only one offering that specific product or service.